Welcome to another episode of Modern Life. This week, we're talking about one of the greatest holiday movies of all time, Love Actually. Before we get into that, quick shout out if you want to reach out to us, if there's something you want to talk, you want to hear us talk about, or if you just want to say hi or give us some feedback, you can reach us on Instagram or on Twitter at Modern Life Pod. You can also email us. Our email address is modernlifepod@gmail.com. Let's get into it. All right. So I'm your humble host, Sam. I'm here with my sister, Tabby, and my lovely girlfriend, Stacy. How are you guys?
Hi.
Hi. We're going to talk about Love Actually today. Before we get into that, we're going to do our signature segment, Modern Thoughts. What's on your guys' mind this week?
Go, Stacy.
I was just going to talk about how fashion right now is bringing back wide-legged pants and
I've seen that. I don't
flares.
know how I feel about that.
So the 70s, what's that called? The
bell
bottoms.
Except they're not touching the ground a lot of the time.
And they're like short. And
right?
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of any of these old school, like the high-waisted mom jeans.
I like the high-waisted.
I like the he's saying the high-waisted mom jeans. So when they're like really loose and the teenagers are wearing them like up here and then like with a belt. You like the mom jeans. You the lower waisted.
I'm saying the high waist, washed out, cutting the jeans like you just took them out of your mom's closet in the 90s. I don't know what's going on. And now we got bell bottoms.
This is a great one.
I don't know what's happening.
I get that we recycle our clothing, but I feel like this is one clothing thing that needs to be put to rest and just keeps coming up and torturing.
Did you hear corsets are coming back too?
Oh, those have never got out.
The bell bottom, yeah, they look great in Colombo, but I don't know if we need to.
Or the high waist jean shorts where your ass is hanging out.
I like those.
I don't need to see your ass cheeks when I'm like going out for dinner. I don't.
I don't get the
everyone wear their skirts down to their ankles.
the leggings for pants. That I'm not.
Well, that's been a thing forever.
I know, but I like the leggings for pants if you're wearing like a tunic over it, but then people wear like the midriff tops and the leggings, and I'm like, ooh, I can see everything.
Yeah, that's a new thing with the short waist. Now that's where they're combining two different styles because they're taking like the 70s like cropped shirts and
that's
early
also
90s,
that's a big comeback too right now.
Yeah, with the like now trying to combine it with the legging look and unless you're a stick, that doesn't work for most people, but people are still doing it. So it's an interesting.
Wow,
I like
we sound really prude and. The fashion police. So, on my mind, I recently listened to this Audible exclusive thing by Esther Perel. She has a podcast too. I'd never heard of her.
What are these? I just saw this ad. What are Audible exclusives?
Oh,
Can you explain this to me?
You get a choice of 2 each month. Okay.
Like this is an audiobook that you can only find on Audible?
This sounds like we're being sponsored by Audible and we're sneaking it in here.
Is this like a Netflix original? Like a Audible?
Exactly.
So they're like, do they publish the book too, or it's
they're not,
like audio only?
It depends.
Huh.
Like they'll have a special reading by famous celebrities of Emma, for example. But most of them are really short. This Esther Perel one isn't a book at all. So she has a huge following, but this is the first time I've ever heard of her. She's a relationship therapist.
Okay.
Guru?
No, because I think she has a degree.
Okay.
You can have a degree and be a guru.
You can't be a...
I guess, yeah.
Anyway.
I'm sorry.
What was it about?
So after that job being, like, talking people through their relationship problems is probably one of the worst things I could imagine after like being a divorce lawyer. If the people want to do that kind of job, I'm just like, you're out of your mind.
Divorce lawyers make great money.
Oh God!
yes,
Can
they
you
do.
imagine? Can you imagine?
I actually think that being a white, like a white tailored, like what for white crime, you know, like
Oh, okay.
that would be worse for me.
Okay.
Like having to defend
see
those
what you're saying.
people
Yeah.
would be worse to
Yeah.
me than being
You can do something fun. Trademark
Or like
lawyers
a-
make
Yeah.
a lot
Or
of
like
money.
a public defender where you have to
yeah.
defend this rapist for his crime.
Yeah.
I know people
Yeah.
do
I
that.
don't really understand how most people do any of the lawyer stuff, and yeah.
Going off topic, what
Okay,
happened
sorry.
with
Well-
the relationship advice?
It's not even that I'm not into it, but it's just these recordings of the sessions, and people's names are not on there. So
Okay.
it's, their voices are, but not their
Right.
names. And it's just their problems are not even that interesting. But just watching her work, I think we're just attracted, or there's something really alluring about people who are very, very good at what they do, no matter what that
Yeah.
topic is.
Of course.
And the tips and things and like how to talk about emotions and things that I'm not even hearing, but she taps into right away. I find that absolutely
Sounds
fascinating.
interesting.
There was one example of a family that was dealing with a daughter. This is really big in Japan right now, is the people who lock themselves in their room. They don't come out. They don't
What?
have normal social interactions besides the ones online.
Okay.
They
Okay. Oh, I
have
see what
people,
you're saying.
They have
Okay.
people bring them food. They don't leave the house.
How do they make money?
I have no idea.
Maybe
Well,
like
this
Something online, probably.
this family was supporting their daughter.
Oh,
Like the
okay.
daughter wasn't working, their daughter wasn't doing anything. And Esther Perel brought up this really good point of, I can see myself, I'm doing this too in my life, how when you're online, you can curate the type of social interactions you want to have. You don't
Right.
have to put up with certain things. You
Sure.
can be like block. And I see this on Tumblr too, where these kids are just like, you need to tag bunnies because they bring up trauma of my past, blah, blah, blah. And it's like you can't control all the information coming towards you. And I feel like with online, because you can sort of do that online, people now have this expectation of their whole reality being catered towards them. I don't think that's a very healthy way of dealing with your trauma.
Right.
And I don't think it's ever going to work. And also, I love social interactions online. I'm all for it, but there's different cues and things you do with your body that you're not going to pick up on. And I think maybe
Right.
we're coming into this age of people now not being as good at communicating, at doing interviews, at the social in-person things than they are at doing it online. I
Yeah.
just thought that was one of the sessions I thought was really interesting.
But I also see into the future, and I see like the whole promise of technology. I mean, I think there's more and more. Facebook just came out with this self-moving camera, like video chat thing, and there's also all this promise of, you know, the virtual reality where you can talk to someone that's halfway across the world, but you're both wearing these headsets, and it'll seem like you're in the same room together. I just
fascinating.
think we have this hiccup.
Okay.
As
Oh,
advanced
yeah.
as it may seem right now, I think this is like
Or the
if we're
stepping
still
stone.
if we're still around in 100 years, like they're gonna look back at this time period. It's really just the beginning of all this crazy technology, and I think because it's in a way so, I think, primitive when we'll look back on it. So I think it's just a hiccup, and maybe there will be like that lost, you know, Time magazine 100 years from now is going to write the lost generation.
Right.
These people who like can't communicate properly. I don't know, but I just, you know,
Yeah.
just putting a positive spin on it. I don't think it's always, if that's the way you see the future, I don't think it's always going to be like that either.
Yeah.
You know, like stuff's going to evolve.
Yeah.
What's your thing? What do you think about?
My thing, I just started reading about this concept, and it's super. I'm just at the very. There's a whole book about it, and I have not. I want to dive into this more because for whatever reason, it sort of fascinates me. But I just started reading about this like 2 days ago. It's a concept. The author's called Nassim Taleb, and it's called anti-fragility, which I've never heard of before. It's kind of this clunky word, but basically what it describes, at the core of it, is the concept of what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. That's almost the best way to explain anti-fragility. But to break it down even more, so if you break it down into 3 categories, there's fragile things, which like if I have a wine glass and I knock it off the table, it's fragile, it's going to break, right? That would be a fragile thing. There are robust items, which if I have a plastic cup and I knock it off the table, it's not going to break, but nothing happens either, right? It's still a plastic cup. And then there's anti-fragile items, and the best way to think about that is almost like the human immune system or your bones, where like your immune system, if you just live in a bubble, your immune system's going to go, it's not going to do well. Like you have to stress it, and you have to expose it. And the whole concept of anti-fragility is it's things that get better when you stress them out. So
like your muscles?
Yeah, like really almost anything in your body. And so he's trying to apply this concept, and this is what I just started to get into, and there's a whole world of reading out there on this, but he wants to apply that concept of anti-fragility to, almost capitalism. Like that's his whole grand idea. So if you think about like the airplane industry, when there's an airplane crash, we learn from it, right? What happened with the plane? The thing that broke on that plane, can we fix that on all the other same planes that are out there? So when a plane crashes, ultimately it's less likely that there'll be another plane crash, like, because you learn from it, right? Or that there'll be another plane crash from that exact same thing. The opposite of that being, if you think of the financial crisis in 06, 07, when one bank crashes, it's almost like a domino effect. Other banks are going to fail, right? So that's the opposite of anti-fragility. And he says we need to set up systems in our life so that doesn't happen, that everything in your life is where, when it gets stressed or it fails, it gets better. It doesn't get worse. So anyway, so that's just the basic concept of it. And I kind of, it just goes back to the saying of what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And he's trying to prove all that, really. And there's this whole world. I kind of want to get the book and read more about it because I kind of find it fascinating. But that's what's been on my mind.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shall we?
Let's do this.
Love Actually.
Okay, so just a quick summary, if there can be a summary. This is a Christmas movie. Mm-hmm. Different stories happening, and they all kind of interweave, which I love that kind of storytelling. Go ahead.
I was trying to think, is that, when I think of a movie where all these stories interweave, like, was that, I can't think of a movie before Love Actually that really, I'm sure there is, and I just can't think about it.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, but
I don't know.
There's kind of is one in a series. So the American version of this Valentine's Day was, to me, extremely disappointing. I did not enjoy that movie.
I never saw it. I never heard anything good about it.
And then there's the Hot Summer Days was the Chinese version. I've seen that movie twice. I wish I could watch it every day. It's really, really good.
I just feel like after Love Actually, it almost created that genre, because you had the Valentine's Day. There was also the American, I think, New Year's movie, which was like a follow up to the Valentine's Day
really?
movie.
I've never heard of that.
I think it was like Ashton Kutcher and whatever. Then you had the drama version, like Crash, which won all the Oscars that year, if you remember.
Well, if you go back into
stories
Hugh Grant's history, there was 4 Weddings and a Funeral, and that's kind of similar.
I guess you're right.
To like the different storylines and kind of interconnecting. So I don't think it was like new,
but
I think it was
Love Actually
broader.
Is the it perfectly pulled it off, I think. It's like the pinnacle of stories intertwining, right?
Yeah, they did a really nice job with it. It's interwoven very nicely.
So we start the movie off with the Christmas song recording, which, as you pointed out...
What's the guy's name? Bill? Is it Billy Nye?
Bill Nye.
Bill Nye. The science guy.
You would not record that with all the singers in one room. That's not how that happens. And then also one of the background singers isn't wearing a bra, and it's all I ever look at in that scene.
I never noticed that. It's funny when you're watching a movie specifically to then analyze it and talk about it. Because I never noticed, like, I've done some very light recording stuff for music in the studio, and I never even thought about it. I've watched this movie, 15 times, and then the second I watch it to do a podcast on it, I'm like, oh, they would never record audio. It's funny when you watch a movie specifically to break it down. I just noticed completely different things.
And he's also not wearing headphones, is he?
No, I think he is.
Oh, really?
Yeah, pretty sure he is.
Okay, never mind.
But yeah, the backup singers are right next to him, and it's like it would just all bleed over each other's microphone. It's just the stupid things you notice when you're breaking a movie down that you would never notice otherwise. But yeah, this movie really, it's a nice... especially now in 2018, it's like you notice
Oh damn, yeah.
the terrible ringtones from the first. This movie came out 2003, 2001 or 2003. I don't remember. First cell phone terrible ringtones. There's some terrible fashion still left over from the 90s that bleeds into this movie. Like the guy who was I can never think of his name. Andrew Lincoln. He's wearing this sweater. He's wearing this sweater it's these 4 bars of different colors, and it's like brown and vomit green.
I think
and
that
Who's Andrew?
I think that all of the outfits for the males in this movie are pretty horrible.
They're fairly terrible.
Yeah, they're like really like the oversized sweatshirts with like just I don't know. They're all really
Andrew
bad.
Lincoln's the guy who's
Yeah.
the guy
They look
from
nice
the Walking
in their
Dead
wedding
now.
suits.
The
wedding scene.
yeah,
I
but
guess.
then
Keira Knightley looked terrible.
Wedding dress was awful.
She has these like feathers coming out of everywhere in the
Can we talk about Keira
trumpet
Knightley
sleeves.
can never close her mouth in this movie, or most movies in general.
Well, there's a fascination. Like,
Always
she plays
slightly. I don't know if she's aware of this and she's like playing up her cuteness.
No,
or it's
she's
just,
playing up her lips. Her lips are amazing. Like, and so everybody
what it is?
Yeah, people are like focused on those lips.
It's
Trust
like her
me.
little bunny teeth sticking out. She's got her mouth just like slightly ajar.
Oh God, I think she's so pretty.
I'm so cute and adorable. I can't stand her. She like
Really,
them are
love
fighting
her.
words.
She is
I
like too.
love her.
She's too British.
I need you
like,
to leave.
Too cute.
Yeah, I think
I need
you
you to
maybe
leave.
just need to like just be quiet.
It's like too much for me.
Yeah, just
Like, you know how I can't do Emma Watson because of her accent?
yeah. I know we disagree on this fact too.
Like, Keira Knightley is
No, but hers
the
is
human version of Emma Watson's accent
Voice?
to me. Yeah. It's just too petite. Like, I'm just so cute. It's just too much.
Can I
I'm
just
sorry.
point out that if you include the Titanic that they watched on the TV,
Mm-hmm.
this movie includes all the principal characters from Sense and Sensibility.
Does it?
Yeah.
Huh. Well, look at that.
Mm-hmm.
Fun fact.
Fun fact.
Did you guys have a problem with Andrew? Because I see this pop up sometimes with Andrew Lincoln's storyline with Keira Knightley. Because I've seen people say that he's kind of like a weird stalker, and then
Well,
she
you know,
kisses
it's
him in
interesting
the
that you bring
end,
that up
and-
because he does have this. That we all commented on the fact the Rear Window was in the in
Oh,
his bookshop.
yeah!
Well, Rear Window, they did that on purpose.
I didn't put those two things together.
Yeah, they actually did it on purpose. They put it in there
Stacy.
to catch that it was all like
Really?
Yeah, that it was
Huh.
like this weird fascination with like voyeurism and like kind of stalking her and like
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's super smart. I just don't see it like that because he's not going out of his apartment to find her.
Yeah.
It's just like
No,
at
I
the
don't see him as a
wedding
stalker
and
at all.
other
No, but it was
things
just like
he's
an
at.
interesting like. I thought it was a nice detail to put in there to like make you think about like how.
Yeah, it's just I watched a video essay on this the other day, and and the video essay was really, really good, but I just don't see him as then at the end getting his reward and getting the kiss, and like that's her being like, I feel for you, and then him walking away and being
I'm done.
that's enough.
Well,
Like
this is the thing. I feel like from start to finish, he's a very good friend. Like,
Yeah,
so
and I
his
think-
like
yeah.
this whole thing from start to finish. Like, I feel like the kiss shouldn't have happened.
really, because for me, I see it like her reaching out to him and like finalizing that ending of that and them now becoming friends because he hasn't allowed himself to be friends with
Yeah, I don't
her.
know that the kiss is necessary, though.
Yeah, I feel like
I
it
think
could have
his
ended
happy
without
ending
it.
is just that he doesn't have to repress his feelings. Everything's out, and everybody's cool, and they can get along.
Yeah,
why
like
do you
that.
need the
That's.
kiss?
I feel like the
Okay.
kiss just like kind of added a flaw to her.
I
'Cause,
didn't.
like,
I just didn't
his-
see it as a romantic thing. I saw it as the way like
Yeah, no.
Europeans kiss each other,
Yeah.
not British
Same.
people because they don't have feelings
that's
like
the thing.
Germans. But
Yeah, but that's my point. They're British, so it doesn't really make sense in the character role. I don't
Yeah.
know. To me, it just
she should have
okay.
just given him a
I can-
hug.
I
and-
can
yeah,
take it
just
or
like a
leave it.
hug. It would have
Yeah.
like been enough for me.
Maybe
Yeah.
squeeze his left butt cheek a little.
Yeah, absolutely, like a little brush, something.
But a kiss is just going too far. So I didn't know the director, his name is Richard Curtis, and this was the first movie he ever directed. which props to him because it's a damn masterpiece. All right,
You know that
it's a holiday miracle.
You know that originally it was
Christmas
two
miracle.
scripts that they two completely separate scripts that they combined into one.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, actually, the Colin Firth and the Hugh Grant were the leading roles of both movies, and then they combined it to make it into, and that there was originally 14.
Who was Colin Firth? Colin Firth was supposed to be.
Colin Firth was the writer that fell in love with
Oh, okay,
the
okay,
non-speaking.
I could see him in that.
Non-speaking? She
Non-speaking.
does speak. Damn.
I was going to say non-speaking relationship in the sense that they can't speak to each other.
She's a mute.
She's one of my favorite characters in this whole thing.
Is she Spanish?
She's
Portuguese.
Portuguese. That's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think she's the cutest woman in the whole movie.
Yeah. Well, I actually like all of the women in the movie, like the lead characters, and I like how they're all
Except for
don't.
the German
hate
one.
her. Well, you know what? Also,
Can
in the
we
movie they
clarify
cut
to the
out-
audience who you hate?
Okay. So, there's
Red
that
Devil.
whole plot line with Emma
Alan Rickman's
and Alex
secretary.
Rickman. And then there's the secretary, who, by the way, I cannot stand. I think she does, to me
just be
represents
standing
all
under
of
the mistletoe, waiting to be kissed. You're like, oh Lord.
just all the awful people out there that are like go and try and break up happy couples.
And
I
she
just-
really goes out of her way.
She goes like out of her way. Now I'm not making him innocent because obviously he's not.
No, he's not.
But at the same time, in the movie, they cut out the fact that they actually do have a full blown affair.
Okay,
And
because
that-
I'm always unsure about that. I was going to ask you guys.
Yeah, no.
'Cause
They-
I don't
they-
understand if he gave her the necklace at work after the shopping.
Yeah, well,
or if
supposedly
they
there was a
had sex-
deleted scene, and they did have a full blown affair.
Oh, really? Because I
And
feel
then
like
they
I've
do
seen
stay
all the
together.
deleted scenes. So
I
they
don't know,
had
I read-
sex.
Yeah, they did have sex.
Okay,
Oh.
got it.
But you don't. They cut that out, so you can assume.
Yeah, I don't think that was necessary.
I think it
Really?
was
Because I was confused.
really?
there's a gap there where you're like.
I just think it's enough that he buys this super expensive necklace for like.
Well, the
his
thing is
secretary
that I
and
think
gives
they
his
don't
wife a
want you to
CD.
fully hate his character, and I think that's
Yeah.
why they take it out. But for me, I didn't like it. I didn't like him or her from the
to gloss over it.
Yeah, like-
so much.
yeah.
Interesting.
But other than that, even her with her bug eyes,
Glubschaugen.
yeah, her with her bug eyes prettiness that is, I guess, is pretty, but I don't find attractive at all. I think all the women in the movie are like flawed but perfect, like beautiful in their own rights.
Oh my god.
There is something that I find really upsetting, and if this was a thing of the past, except it's not. It's all the constant fat jokes, like
You
him.
know that they made Emma Watson wear a fat suit for that
Emma
character.
Watson?
I mean, Emma. Sorry,
Oh, that's
Emma,
right. She has
Emma
a cameo.
Thompson.
You're right. No.
Emma Thompson actually was wearing a fat suit.
Wait, what?
Yeah, she's skinny.
Shut up.
Yeah, she's
Wait,
skinnier.
she's
way
not even
skinnier.
fat in the movie. What are you talking about?
They made her that scene where she's got
Like a
little
little more of a
bit-
mother?
Yeah, they like wanted her to look
That's
more
weird.
motherly, so they made her put on like
Huh.
a fat suit.
But it's like I watch movies nowadays, and there's still the equalizing fat with being ugly, and this movie does this nonstop. Like the sister.
No, I actually
yeah.
think I actually think that they do a nice job of highlighting it, but not because he still thinks she's beautiful, even though everybody else thinks she's like got a huge ass.
You mean the Hugh Grant?
Yeah,
love?
I like how they kind of play with that a little bit because
that
a
I
stick
don't-
figure like this. It's,
Yeah.
especially right then because you remember this was made a couple years ago before this whole body image became more prevalent and more like focused on, where everybody in movies was like a Keira Knightley. You know what I mean?
I just
Like,
don't need the Bill Nye calling his manager fat all the time and he's ugly. And then the sister at the end are like, oh, of course I don't want to marry that sister. Like, look at her. Like, I don't need that. Like,
Bill Nye thing doesn't bother me at all. That's just how guys would talk to each other. I feel like.
yeah, I don't know.
I
I
think
don't
that
like
this
it.
was you're looking at it from a at least for me, it's like you're looking at it from a standpoint of today and how we're all ultra sensitive about certain
Except
things.
we're not. I still see this in movies that came out like last year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know.
I think
I
we're
don't got a
moving in
problem
the
with
right
it.
direction.
We're moving in the right direction.
I still
You're
think
right.
that cast different body images and different body types. I feel like a lot of movies don't do that, and this one definitely used those female leads as actual leads. Like you see an aging woman, you know, like a woman that's up there in age, like still looking attractive, which wasn't really done back then. It was more like this perfect image. I don't know.
Okay.
Okay.
Another thing this movie does, which was when this movie came out in 2003, this was revolutionary for me at the time of showing at least hints of like homosexuality in a major movie. Like her asking Andrew Lincoln at the wedding, like, oh, do you love him? And then also when the dad asked his son, like, oh, are you in love with a boy or a girl? Like that was really significant to me at the time. I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was definitely not done like in a negative way. It was always done in like this kind of like matter of fact.
And I feel like if this movie came out today, there would be more clarity between the Bill Nye and his manager and what that relationship is. Because to me in the movie it's romantic, but then again they don't say it.
No.
Oh no, I never got romantic.
No, it's not romantic at all.
I got like best friends.
No, they're just like literally the best of friends.
Maybe it's like a gay baiting thing. I don't know.
No.
The best of friends? You don't think it's romantic?
No, not even slightly. Like I just
the Bill
get that
Nye
they
character is obsessed with naked chicks and
Yeah.
like drugs and rock and roll. He's just like he just realized that's
I
like
wasn't sure
his
that
best
was
friend and he loves him. Like there's
just
nothing
an image.
romantic
yeah, it's kind of like
about
a
it.
bromance is what I get from it. It's like one of the first like
Yeah, he's
great
like, let's go watch
romances.
porn together.
And then at the end of the movie, you see him with like another chick. Like,
Yeah, and just to me that was like an image he was creating, and then his one true love was like his manager.
No. I
Well,
don't get
I'm
that
gonna
at all.
believe what I believe.
All right,
And
go ahead.
Goodbye. What's the next thing? Oh, also the Britney Spears joke is one of my favorite jokes in this.
Oh, that's
it's
good.
when he's in the
She was
radio
rubbish.
station. He goes, "What's the best shag you've ever had?" He goes, "Britney Spears." Just kidding. She was terrible.
that was a great line.
What's our favorite character from the movie?
No, what's her? I don't have a favorite
Do
character.
you have a favorite character?
Favorite storyline?
Oh.
Yours is Colin, God of Sex.
See, Colin, God of Sex, is my favorite character. I don't know that it's my favorite story.
So what's
it's
your
a very
favorite-
short, ridiculous story.
So what's your favorite
Yeah, but you
storyline?
realize that whole scene in the bar where he meets all the you know that he didn't get paid for that. He actually gave back. He had so much fun filming it that he actually gave back his paycheck for the day.
What?
Yeah.
No,
Fun fact.
stop it.
Look it up.
I had so much fun. Here, take my money. Who does that?
I don't know, but he did. He wasn't big at the time either.
I
so-
know. That
Video
sounds like
game
urban,
developers.
That sounds like urban
I don't need to get paid
legend.
for anything I do.
That sounds like
Well, it's yeah. No, I verified that.
Wait,
fact.
okay, so what's your favorite storyline?
Let me think about this for a second. I think the Hugh Grant Prime Minister.
Oh, that's so
I
sweet.
think I like that one the best.
My favorite's the Martin Freeman one, for sure.
Yeah.
They were just so cute.
Oh yeah, that's a great
Porn
one. I do.
stand-in
Yeah.
couple. He's like,
Oh my. Yeah, I think I'm with you.
I really like that
just
one.
love
It's
them.
like
I love
it's also
their
the most
inter-
complete one. I feel
Yeah.
like I don't know. It's got a happy ending.
Yeah, it does.
I mean, this movie. It's almost like a fairy tale movie. I feel like, 'cause, okay, the Colin storyline, right? It's completely ridiculous. He ends up having like an orgy in Wisconsin. Like most of these storylines, except for the one where the wife gets cheated on, it's almost like it's like this fairy tale, right? Like everything
Is so happy and go lucky, and it
Yeah.
ends up in the end. Yeah, they actually we cut like four other storylines out of the original, and two of them I thought sounded really interesting because one was, but they kind of darkened the movie a little bit. One was like an African American couple who was like dealing with her same sex partner having cancer.
no, you're
Am I confusing?
confusing them. Because I've seen them all. So one was the principal of the school who
Oh,
you
that's
still
the same
see her
sex.
in the scene.
Yeah.
And then and then when the teacher comes on stage and announces the show, they cut out the part where he's like, they acknowledge the fact that the principal's partner passed away.
Yeah.
And then there's the people in, I don't know what parts of Africa it was, but they cut back to people living there and the relationship
famine.
problems that they have over there.
Yeah.
Oh.
Which are fun, but I don't think it's just a lot. Like you don't.
Yeah, no.
But they were definitely like the more serious. I feel like more serious.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they
Yeah.
kind of brought the movie down, but they also were like the more serial.
Well, and
serious
then there's
bylines.
two really funny ones. One is where it's more about the Emma character and her son, my horrid son Bernard. I love that line. She's like talking about her son.
Wait, for who is this?
Emma Thompson's son, who's the
Okay.
what part does he play in the? I don't even
remember
know.
The lobster.
No, that's
They
the
all
dog.
play-
Is it-
No.
no.
They
Oh,
all
you're right.
play
That is the
No,
son.
he plays the lobster.
Paper mache lobster. The best line of the movie.
Oh no, my son, she's talking about her brother, and she's like, my brother gets to save the
country,
and I have to make a
yeah. And then the other one was somebody coming into who's the widower and his stepson.
Yeah.
Why am I spacing on
Liam Neeson?
Liam Neeson, who has a very particular set of skills. His computer there's these constant porn pop-ups, and he can't make it stop. And it's all of like Claudia Schiffer. Like it was funny, anyways. And then the son walks in and like takes a bullet for him.
You mean the son that learned how to play drums in a week?
Things you can do in 1 week: learn an instrument, learn a language, get a divorce, get a passport.
Again, this is a fairy tale movie. This just goes to my point. This is a Christmas fairy tale movie disguised as a romantic comedy. That's my theory. Because, like, half of these storylines are just, it's way too good to be true, right? And I'm okay with that. I love this. This might be my favorite Christmas movie. I don't know.
The thing that's really over the top that I'm glad they cut was Thomas Brody Sangster was this gymnast character. So when he's running through the...
Wait, who? What actor?
The stepson. When he's running through the airport to get his girlfriend.
Oh, he, like, starts doing flips over the security guards or something?
And it's obviously not him doing flips, so it's... the CGI is really terrible, so I'm glad they cut that out because it's a bit much.
Yeah. When did you see all these deleted scenes?
Oh, they're all online.
Are they?
Yeah.
Huh. I had no idea there was like this much stuff cut out.
Oh, yeah, they had to. I'm sure they had to shrink down the movie quite a bit from what originally.
Going back to the wedding, I just want to say that scene with all the people popping out with the instrument, it gets me every time.
I love that scene. It's probably one of my favorite scenes in the movie.
Actually, I know. I'm thinking about my favorite storyline again. I think it's a tie between, because I really like the Portuguese woman.
Yeah,
too.
I really do too. I was going to say that's like a close tie for me.
They might have my favorite closer of any story. Just him, like the whole town is there at the restaurant. And he's like asking her to marry. Like I love that they both learned the languages
of each other. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
I thought that was so cute that like she answered in English.
I love that his subtitles are the broken Portuguese, you know?
Yeah.
That's really cute.
I think they used nouns instead of verbs for the subtitles, but I think what's actually happening is him not conjugating any of the verbs and just using infinitive, if I understand it correctly. But of course you don't barely conjugate in English, so they had to kind of switch it up a little bit for it to make sense. And then there's a band in the restaurant on the top level, and the song they play is actually really, really nice. I kind of half wish they would have kept that song in as opposed to the like theme of the... that works too. I just really like the band playing.
Interesting.
I want to talk about this again. 2003 is when the U.S. started its Iraq War, I believe. And
yeah, it sounds right.
This superpower bullying of the United... Like, it was shocking to me that any modern nation was still, developed nation was still, like, starting wars. As somebody who lived in Europe at the time, being, like, a little kid, I was like, what? Who's going to war with whom?
Yeah.
Like, it was just amazing to me. And this movie deals with that in a way that's, again, a fairy tale. Of course, the prime minister can't be like, get the hell out of here, you American.
That speech, like, you would just, like, you wish a politician would make a speech like that,
And
right?
I think the actual prime minister was like, that's really nice and cute in the movie, but, like, that's not reality.
Yeah, no, he totally had a whole speech where he addressed this. Like,
I also don't think they dance around their house at night either, so...
You don't know. That's,
That's
the
best
idea.
Scene.
That's like my favorite.
That's the best scene.
I almost wish it was like longer. Like,
oh man, Hugh Grant like doing the dance, and it comes out of nowhere.
That song and he didn't want to film it. It is like the last scene that they filmed with him because he was fighting against doing it for so long. I know.
Yeah, he's a pretty like British. Like I can see him being like, no, I don't want to do this. It's ridiculous.
But it came out perfect.
Well, he's got the dance moves. Nobody knew.
Watching that movie today, though, it's again when this period where the U.S. has a leadership that's not a good example of what I think a perfect government should be. So it kind of rings true again.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah, just that attitude of jingoism that the U.S. presented itself with, and Europe kind of rejecting that at the time. I feel like this movie embodies that perfectly.
Yeah, they did a really nice job with it, and I like how they address which is kind of something that's important these days with the Me Too movement, with like him kind of pushing himself onto the you know what I mean? Like I think it was the fact that they had that and acknowledged that existed. To me, was like, I don't know how to explain what I'm trying to say, but like how the power can be just as intimidating as actually like forcing yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Because
like,
you can't. What are you supposed to do? In that
like I love her response. Like it was,
like,
he's the president. Like I didn't know how to act. You know what I'm saying? Like I like how they address that in the movie.
I think it's also really satisfying because you watch Hollywood is the epicenter of movie making, and they get other cultures wrong all the time without caring two bits about it. It's kind of nice to see America portrayed as like arrogant and like the stupid bimbos and the like it's just funny for once. Like I'm not saying I have something against America, but I don't know. It's just like a nice change.
It's
kind
a
of
nice
turning
twist.
the tables.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess you don't see that a lot, right?
I have to deal with weird fake Nazis all the time. So
wait, what? You have to deal with fake Nazis?
Yeah, in every
because
Hollywood
German,
movie.
yes.
So it's nice to have kind of switched around a little bit.
You guys might want to explain that you're German,
Yeah.
just in case that hasn't come up in the
I
have to
past.
deal with
Come up.
fake Nazis on a regular
It has
basis.
come up multiple times in other podcasts. So.
You know what? One of my favorite scenes in that movie, and I just think it is very British that it's even in there, is the Barbie scene.
The Barbies, which
You remember where she holds up the gifts to
Oh,
give
like-
to the kids?
Yeah, what do you?
You didn't like it? The transgender and the... See, you don't like it because it's... I just think it was interesting to see you would never have that in America. Like
Well, it was
I
funny
don't
at the
remember the
time
scene at all.
when
What are
she
you
holds up
talking
the
about?
Barbies and she goes, "This one looks like a dominatrix and this one looks like a transvestite,"
Oh.
and it was just a Ken doll dressed in like
Right.
like female clothing.
Yeah. But those are like... Are those Barbies? Like, those Barbies exist, obviously. So
I think they dressed him up for that scene, put him in the box.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. I thought it was funny.
I think it's super random.
It's funny.
I liked it.
I want to say something about the set design because I love Colin Firth's desk when he's still at home and then also when he's in the countryside because it's always really messy and it reflects his state of mind and how he works really well. And I think the combination of that is when all the papers fly away and he hasn't made copies and he's not together
Yeah, he's
at
a hot
all,
mess.
and then he gets it together at the end.
Yeah.
Not in between when she like kisses him and he lets her walk away and you're like, dude, what are you doing? But then he's like, no, I'm gonna learn this language. I'm gonna buy a plane ticket. I'm doing it. Like, love it.
Which, does he fly to Portugal that same night? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but he bought a plane ticket before, I think. Right? And because he just drops off the
He must,
presents
right?
and then
Yeah.
he's like,
Well, he was supposed to spend time
No,
there.
no. Because he
he,
has
like,
this random
sees-
realization of like I can't. Because he was gonna go to his family, and then he's like, "Wait, like I can't be here."
things you
because
can
his
do in
brother,
one day.
who was
buy a
banging
plane
his
ticket.
ex-wife.
Yeah.
Probably
Like,
finds
yeah, I
a
want
late
to
plane
spend
ticket.
Christmas with that guy.
Ugh,
You know
that
what?
would
He's a
be
really
awkward.
successful author. Maybe he's got a private plane. I don't know.
We don't know if he's successful.
I don't know. He's got like a maid, and he's got this place in the countryside. I mean, he's doing fine. I think.
Yeah, true. He's
Doing
got a lot of
just
CDs.
fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. That's fun about watching the movie. It's like the camcorder's got this giant VHS in it, and there's people got CD collections. It's like right before. I mean, what the iPhone came out in like 2008. Yeah, I mean, it's just like that really primitive time period right after floppy disks. Right?
How do you guys feel about the storyline with Carl and the brother who's mentally ill?
It's tied for the darkest storyline in the movie.
I just
right?
don't know why they don't get together. I don't know why there couldn't be
because
a
then not all love
message.
stories end happy.
It's
But
I don't
it-
know. I think that was necessary to kind of break up.
Is
the
she just like
fairy
not in the
tale.
right state of mind to have a relationship?
No, I just
'Cause
think
she's
that
dealing
I
with her
think that
brother?
for me it was the moment when I realized that they were not compatible was like she's sitting there on the phone. She's sitting there she had just answered the phone and then it rang again and he's like, maybe you just shouldn't answer at this time. And like that's not something that she can do.
Yeah, but he doesn't know that.
Yeah, but
how does that make them not compatible?
I don't know. To me, that was like the pinnacle. Like if you understood what she was going through, I mean, he spent years like she always picks up her phone for him. It's like the number one thing. Like even the boss is like, "Oh, your phone's ringing." Like her world kind of rotates around that phone call.
But what Carl is saying is, it's not helping him, and like what is?
It's not about. It is.
It's
helping
not
him.
about the brother.
It's not about it's their relationship. Like that's what her role incorporates. Like I don't know how to explain.
It's still weird. There's no closure. They just like they don't talk to each other again, right?
I think
it's weird.
I don't know. It works for me.
It doesn't work for me.
It doesn't work for me either, no, because I feel like I would want her, not even just to get a relationship, but maybe for her to just realize the way I am fostering this relationship is not healthy for me and is not healthy for my brother. And I think a lot of it has to do with these two Americans being in a foreign country and then kind of clinging to each other and not allowing themselves, especially her, to form other relationships with the people around them.
But the last scene with them is
the presents. She's putting the scarf around her brother.
No, I mean with her and Carl. Like I just.
Oh
do
yeah.
they talk to each other again after that night? They don't. Right?
Yeah, they do.
Just say good night,
and he looks like he wants to say something, but he doesn't say anything.
The whole thing's kind of weird to me.
I don't know. I feel like it's different when you have one person that's depending on you for everything, and you're the only thing that's like in their life that understands or makes sense.
You can't have a relationship.
Yeah, but I'm not saying it's a healthy relationship. I'm just saying that's a common relationship.
It is what is.
You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not. Everything in this movie is like so fairy tale ending, and this is like the one thing that kind of like brings it back down to like.
Well, that
reality.
And Alan Rickman's family.
Yeah, it doesn't really happy ending. They stay together though.
For the kids, it seems like. I mean, they don't seem to be like crazy over each other anymore. They're just like, oh, we'll like make this work for the kids. That's like the impression I get.
Yeah, no, I get the same impression. I don't know.
Why is he getting off the international terminal at the end of the movie?
I don't know. He went on
where did he go?
Business trip.
Right. Okay.
They don't really explain it, but I think it just ties into the having to pull in all.
No, I get that.
Did you guys ever go to the airport when you were allowed to pick
I
people
remember
up
the times. Yes.
You do? Okay. I love that scene.
When you could like wait there for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was like one of my favorite
Denver
places
Airport
to go.
still somewhat does it like that, but it's still not the same.
Oh, yeah.
Where everyone comes like out from
so
underneath.
funny. This was this past summer. I'm coming out of the LA airport and it takes me 2 hours to get through just checkout after checkout. That's just fake feeling of security and safety, and nothing makes. I've never had to go through so many things. Scan this, scan that. Somebody checks your things again, and then
coming out of the plane,
coming out of the landing, and then like
you haven't flown.
This is
I'm flown international.
Yeah, this is new, and then kind of just popping out in like Hamburg, Germany. It's like, here's your stuff. Bye. Like there's nobody checking. Like
so they scan your stuff. You also have to go through customs, and then you gotta like go wait for your bag.
I can't remember the 20 million lines and scans and new machines, and it was just ridiculous.
The simpler times.
I want to talk about the Alan Rickman Emma Thompson thing again when she's. And the movie allows the scene to be very long, and I super appreciate it when she's she's crying in the bedroom.
Oh yeah, I always.
Well, you know that was like all Emma Thompson. You know, like the script gave no direction. It just said that she shows her emotion, and then she just like did that.
But it's the Joni Mitchell tape playing, and her crying but trying not to wipe her makeup. It just feels. It doesn't feel like I'm watching a movie. It feels like real life.
It was one of the best scenes in that movie. Oh. It's like it's so gripping. But I'm just saying, like that was all Emma Thompson. Like they let her go off, and they filmed it like 12 times in a row, and it was the only thing she filmed that day, and it was just that scene.
And you always notice when somebody's a great actor, to me too, when they know how to use their surroundings. And her kind of fixing the bed, even though the bed is fine.
That's exactly what a mother would do, is like try and find something to I know, I'm sorry. Something to preoccupy their mind, like so that they can get their like mindset to having to like be in front of the kids.
Yeah.
Like it's the way it's exactly how it would have been handled.
So great.
You know what, like Alan Rickman dancing with the secretary at the holiday party, like right in front of his wife? What's up with that? That's so weird. No?
He's terrible.
But even if you're cheating on your wife, that's just a weird thing.
Well, I don't think he was cheating at that time. Like at that time, I think it was still.
But just to be like dancing with your hot secretary right in front of your wife, it's just very strange.
Yep, agreed.
I don't know.
I didn't like it.
Alan, what are you doing?
Bug eyes.
Oh, also another thing that feels really organic is when they finally talk about that after the play, and there's somebody cutting through them.
Yeah.
I find that a very interesting choice. Instead of having these two characters talk it out, there's somebody walking through because they're
she
like
says bye to them, right?
She's like, yeah, bye, Merry Christmas. And I'm like, those are the little things that make me feel like...
What's the most hyper-realistic? Everything else is a fairy tale, pretty much. And that's like... Like we're just talking, the whole crying scene, fixing the bed. Someone cutting through them right as having this serious discussion. It's like
2 seconds finding the kids and like just like right after that, like telling her husband that she knows, and then like.
But almost all of the scenes with like Alan Rickman and Emma Watson are complete contrast to the.
There's too many Emmas. There's
Emma. I'm sorry.
Emma Stone.
What's her name?
Emma the Locomotive.
All her scenes, it's almost contrast to the whole rest of the movie, where it is just super hyper realistic almost. No,
Yeah.
It gives the whole movie some weight just through her performance.
Yeah,
it anchors it.
The anchor, you're the anchor, Emma. Well, she's the best.
Oh, she's amazing.
Yeah, like the things where they're about to miss the plane. And the little kid is like running through all the things, like trying to get to Joanna. But then at the end, she has time to walk all the way back. Even though the plane's like about to take off, she walks all the way back that way he ran just to give him a kiss. And I'm like,
it's
what?
Ridiculous.
What?
They would never hold that plane and be like, bye. Again, fairy tale movie.
I have a story about that song that she sings, All I Want for Christmas Is You. I think because of this movie, that's my favorite Christmas song.
Really?
Yeah. And when I was living in New York, on a 110th Street, Harlem, there was this tiny like grocery store that didn't sell anything healthy. But it was during Christmas time, and I was shopping there, and that song came up, and I started kind of singing it to myself. And then, like, the cashier started singing it, and then the people in line started singing it. It was a scene out of a musical.
New York, the musical.
Yeah, and we were all just singing the song, then everybody was like, oh, Merry Christmas!
Oh my God. Why have I never had one of those moments?
I've never heard this story.
It was a really great moment.
That's amazing. It was the night of the 24th. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Really
Groceries
sweet.
are free.
I wish, no.
Did you float out of the grocery
Almost.
store? Is it happening?
Oh, also Colin Firth trying to speak French in the car, and he's trying to point out the beautiful mountains. I had a moment like that.
Wait, French? Portuguese, I thought.
Except in that scene, he uses like Spanish and French,
Oh,
and
he's,
nothing
like, jumping
makes
everything.
any sense.
Oh, because that's the one where he didn't really like. He didn't know the Portuguese yet.
No,
so he was
he's
just
just
like.
No, it's
trying
when
to,
they're
like,
driving.
Yeah.
When they're driving in the car.
Yeah.
And the other night I had French customers, and I could understand what they were saying, and they didn't speak any English. But then me trying to speak French back, I'm like, and they're just staring at me like with question marks in their eyes. Like, I'm like, that's exactly how I felt. Like, it's so easy to understand, but then speaking it is like, sound like Colin Firth.
Yeah.
Also the scene with the ridiculous like Christmas exhibition of the naked people that have like the Christmas hats on them.
It's art.
They're not funny. It's art.
The worst.
It's
art.
so spot on.
Pretty
Also
much.
the what's his name? Hugh Grant, going, when he says hi, and then he's like, pathetic. I love that sense of humor.
He's amazing. He's amazing in this movie.
And
just all his little mannerisms, and he's constantly beating him. It's like so British. He's just beating himself up the whole movie, right? Like self-detriment. Like, you're just like he's the prime minister, and just like, but so relatable in the movie because he's constantly telling himself how pathetic he is.
That scene where he like right after he gets Natalie fired and the door opens and the new secretary comes in and he looks down at the cookies as she's leaving.
It's regular
and
biscuits,
they're regular
right?
biscuits and he's like
It's a sad
just
face.
a sad face on his thing like I did that to myself.
Well, it's also very fairy tale like you said when they go from door to door, and I'm like, you would just look up the address in a database.
Yeah, he's the damn prime minister.
He's like going from door to door, and the chauffeur turns out to be like,
hey, or I mean, she was just employed a day ago. I'm sure they have her address on file. But again, he knocks on 3 doors in this ginormous street and finds her immediately.
And his chauffeur is like a tenor or
Like that was so great when he starts to sing in the background and Hugh Grant like
looks around.
Like didn't know what his chauffeur was capable of.
Also, when she tells him that she broke up with her boyfriend, and he goes, "Oh, sorry," but he smiles as he's saying it, like he almost can't help himself how happy he is about it. It's these little things that just
He's like a little kid.
Yeah.
As prime minister. He really is. When he, I mean, he's got the best one-liners in the movie for sure. When he's looking at the painting of the Queen, right? He goes,
it's
not the
Margaret
Queen.
Thatcher.
That's right, Margaret Thatcher. He goes, you saucy minx. Yeah, I mean, he's fantastic. I still like the Colin character a little more because he just makes me laugh every time. I wish there was more of the Colin character in this movie because he's just the absolute comic relief, goofy character of the movie.
I like Emma Thompson's like little plays, like when she goes, "No one's gonna shag you if you cry all the time."
Yeah. That I find that very interesting because this movie's from 2003. Liam Neeson's wife dies in 2009. Which I didn't realize she was the granddaughter of Michael Redgrave. He has a really great role in one of Hitchcock's movies, The Lady Vanishes, and I didn't realize they were related like that.
Foreshadowing Liam Neeson's life. Does his son play the drums too? I don't know.
I just find that I feel like him, real life Liam Neeson, what he's gone through, and the interviews you watch, it's just. I don't know, it makes me really sad. Yeah. That's all. That's all I have to say about that. The other fairy tale, like, really fable-like thing is, again, how people dress. Keira Knightley is constantly running around with the midriff. Everybody's got, like, loose jackets open in the middle of winter in England. Like, it's not cold, ever. Let's wear summer dresses.
Keira Knightley when she's on the boat with the sequins shirt on and it's like windy and cold and you can see her like shirt like flying up and you're just like, God, she's got to be cold.
Ain't right. But yeah, it's what else? What else?
I think why this works for me as a romantic comedy is it's not incredibly sexual. I don't have to suffer through 10 minutes of like scenes of hands touching skin with the jazz music. It's just people being awkward all the time. Like that's why the porn couple is my favorite
porn
couple.
When he's like they're fake having sex on the bed and his head is just like
knocking
up.
But it's this. It's like a British awkwardness that you would never get in an American. Like, like the Valentine's Day movie or something like that. There's something amazingly British about this movie that just so works with romantic comedy, and it's fantastic.
It was just really well casted too. Just like all of
that is true,
like, the cast is just phenomenal. I mean, I love Hugh Grant in this movie. I love Colin Firth. I love Emma Thompson, and the girl that plays Hugh Grant's
secretary.
I don't have to see her in anything.
She was
Natalie.
she was, I guess, in a huge show, a British show.
Oh, okay.
And the movie that part was written for her. like it was, she was one of the original cast members. She was like what they wanted from start. They actually had originally named it after her and then changed it because they didn't want her to be cocky on their audition. So it was like a named Mateen.
Named what?
Her name is Mateen.
Oh, that's a real name?
Yeah.
Got
And
it.
then they changed it to Natalie afterwards because they didn't want her to be cocky.
Fun fact.
Fun fact.
Going back to how all the stories are interwoven, sometimes they do that so well. Like the wedding and funeral have the same song, and you cut from him carrying the coffin to them dancing together at the wedding, or you hear the Christmas song on the radio, and then somebody's watching it. You know, there's
Yeah,
this
they
really...
they use music a lot to tie in the scene.
But then there's other places where it doesn't work, like the same character all of a sudden being in a different scene. You pointed that out.
Right, it messes with me, like Colin's friend, the
I don't know what his
only
name.
black guy in the movie.
No, there's the Keira Knightley's
No, I
husband.
guess there is. Yeah, you're right. Okay, one of two black guys in the movie. Yeah, he's talking to Colin, and they're at the
Wedding.
Catering. At the wedding catering one scene, and it jump cuts to the porn couple, and he's a director. But it's like bang bang right after each other. And it's like, wait, especially when you're first watching the movie, you're like, wait, is that the same guy? Like it's just slightly confusing, the editing. But when you have all these storylines intertwined, like it's got to be so hard to edit all that together smoothly. So
yeah, so they do a good job most of the time. The only other time is with, I always point this out, with my favorite porn couple.
Martin Freeman, yeah.
Yeah, because it cuts from him asking her out to go to the Christmas show, but then they come back from the Christmas show and she says, all I want for Christmas is you, but that hasn't happened yet because they still, at the end of the movie, go to that show. So they come back from the show before they go to the show, and the way it's cut together, it doesn't make any sense. So,
which you can sort of make it work if you're like, oh, they just went out for a date the night before, and now they went to, I don't know.
Because they wouldn't be wearing the same clothes.
You're right.
Women don't wear the same clothes twice in a row.
Yeah.
Because I was making that argument, you're like, no, she's wearing the same clothes. I'm like, you're right.
That's why she says to him, all I want for Christmas is you,
Yeah,
because they just watched that song. So,
again, and especially... because you got to think. I mean, I didn't know there were that many deleted scenes. So if you have all this footage and then you sit down at the editing table, and it's got to be a monster to edit that together smoothly. So
yeah, I gotta give.
If that's the most minor hiccup and it's still, if you're not really completely paying attention, you wouldn't notice it, because I never did until you pointed it out. I mean, job well done.
That's it. That's all I had about this amazing Christmas
Me too.
movie.
It's a great Christmas movie.
Watch it all the time, even when it's not Christmas.
Yep.
Anyway, so yeah, that's it for today's episode. Again, if you want to reach out to us, Instagram or Twitter at Modern Life Pod, or you can email us, modernlifepod@gmail.com. In the podcast description below is our website link, any other links you need for YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, you name it. There's also a link for a tip jar if you want to support the show, so go and check that out. And we will catch you guys on the next episode. Bye.